Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another comic book corner. Here with Mr. PrimeGundam. How's it going, sir?
Guten Tag, mein dudes. Guten Tag, mein dudettes. Did you guys miss me? Because I missed you all.
Oh yeah, they're definitely going to be. They definitely missed you for a while. You know, more from Medicast is coming. It's definitely coming. We might have a double whammy on our hands due to a certain comic that came out, which we will hold off on till said episode of it. Oh, we said.
No, I was gonna say. I'm just gonna bite my tongue and not say anything about what we're gonna talk about on More Medicast.
I'll just say this: we should rejoice. So today we're going to be talking about the House of X, Power of X saga from the God Jonathan Hickman. So I guess start.
So hold on, ask you a question. Quick question. So like I've heard it seen two ways. Like I've heard people say it should be pronounced Powers of 10. And is it Powers of 10 or is it Powers of X? Like which is it?
No,
I'm saying X because fucking X-Men.
Yeah, I'm playing Power of X too. I mean, I don't think it really matters. Power of 10, Power of X. Who cares? I mean, you know, it is what it is.
Hold on now. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that because Hickman is specifically like big brain. He's always going galaxy mode. So
this is true.
So it was supposed to be say a certain way, and he has a point. He has a plan for it. So that's why I'm like, can I get a ruling on this?
So for those that don't know, me and D and Prime has chimed in a handful of times on early episodes some years back when we were talking about Secret Wars, and Jonathan Hickman had basically laid the foundation of Secret Wars since probably the Shield book and even the Fantastic Four book, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I just want to say I'll put a lot of the heavy lifting on Secret Wars in this Fantastic Four run.
Yeah, specifically with the Council of Reeds and such. And he's one of those writers that he'll take some obscure shit from like the early 60s of whatever comic and somehow spin it into whatever book that he's doing. And you would never know because hey, who really was reading Silver Age comics that closely? But he'll somehow weave it in, and I'm like, okay.
him, Grant Morrison, and Al Ewing.
Exactly. So like when you look at Secret Warriors, right? He pulled from an early Shield book from back in the day that involved like Fury and what was it? What the hell is that dude's name from Hydra? Strucker. When they worked together back in the day, and they somehow weaved it into the whole Zodiac sign shit, you know. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting. So, yeah, he's definitely, as Prime said, very big brain, and just for the most part with his books, he sticks to landing. You know, you have to kind of trudge through a lot of wordy stuff, but if you stick with it, you'll love it. You'll love the payoff easily.
And I hope you like charts because there are a whole lot of fucking charts.
Oh, yes, he does. He hits you.
Have you read East
charts.
of West?
I need to. I need to read East of West. I heard it was really good.
It is really, it's fucking spectacular. But like even after a point, I had to jump, and I think I'm just gonna wait for it to finish off and like get an omnibus because I'm like John boy. Get to the fucking point. Like, wrap it up, bro. Like, wrap it the fuck up.
Oh, we said that. I think all three of us said that about Secret Wars. I'm like, yo, John, wrap this shit up. I mean, it's good. Don't get it twisted. But it's like, yo, wrap that shit up, man. Please.
Like, get to the point. Like, stop dancing around it. Stop tiptoeing. Stop writing for the trade. You know, I say that. Like, he is honestly really, really good at that, too. Is like stretching and belaboring a point.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Like, and not in like an annoying way. Not like, look, that sounded so negative. I don't mean that in like a negative way, like how Brian Michael Bendis writes for a trade, where it's just like them sitting around at a kitchen table eating cereal, and that's like a whole fucking issue.
Yeah.
When I say like Hickman's writing for a trade, it's like there's content there, like he's fleshing out shit. Shit is happening. We're learning things, but I'm like, a lot of Hickman, what he does, because again, he is big brain, he's galaxy brain. He's explaining things in like multiple different ways to make sure no reader is behind, and I appreciate that. But I'm like, John, either do the charts or do the in dialogue exposition. Please don't do both.
This new Avengers run was infamous for like, oh, you're right for the trade. Okay, I get it. Meanwhile, my ass, again, I'm putting on clown makeup like, should have waited for the trade. Had to buy this shit weekly, didn't I? Yep.
See, my ass too. I was right there with you because like I wasn't on the ground floor with his Fantastic Four run, so I said I'm definitely gonna be on the ground floor for his Avengers. And reading that shit week to week, that and New Avengers,
it's dude, exhausting. It gets exhausting. It gets exhausting. It feels like you're doing homework.
Yeah, and especially like early on, where like the issues are like happening concurrently. So like an event will happen, and we'll see it in one way in Avengers. Then the next week in the New Avengers, it's told from a different perspective. But I don't. Can you abbreviate that, because it's gonna be really painful when I have to go back and do like a reread of the series where I'm like, I already seen those pages. Yeah, I already seen those pages.
Well, especially when it got down, especially when the books came down to like the Illuminati. And I dubbed it that basically the last arc of both New Avengers, it turned into the Illuminati arc, essentially, where both books were just basically about the Illuminati, and then that final issue was with Cap and Steve fighting it out, essentially.
Need I say by the way, Hickman to me has put a period on Tony versus Steve. Like, I don't ever want to see them fight ever again in comic books, because you're never gonna top those two motherfuckers like beating the shit out of each other as the universe collapses around them. And the fucking power armor, as all of reality folds in on themselves and they're fucking fighting each other. I'm like, that's period. That's Cap. Like, no more of that, please. You're done. Yeah. That's it. There should be no more conflict between the two of them anymore. Like, that's over. Or at least not. At least like put a moratorium on that shit. Like, at least for a hot minute. Like, I don't want to see them at odds with each other for like a long while.
Yeah, I mean, so. Much like Grant Morrison and a lot of other writers before him and stuff, Hickman came onto the X-Men because, if we're going to be real, I want to say like after that whole saga with Hope Summers and they beat Bastion and they're in San Fran, the X-Men to me were meandering for a while.
Yeah.
Outside the X-Force books, which were actually pretty damn good.
Yeah, right. Phantom X is my dude. Let's not bury the lead here. Brian Michael Bendis, in his infinite wisdom, decided for some reason to crash the X books with no survivors.
And that's also Marvel holding the X-Men hostage because Fox had the license, so they were kind of doing, how should I say, dickish things, kind of like we talked about with the Inhumans and how Marvel was trying to make them the new X-Men, and then that shit crashed and burned on their ass.
Like, simultaneously, anyway, let's try to stay positive. Let's not get into that.
Yeah.
But for better or for worse, he kind of raised it to the ground, and like you said, it kind of began for a little bit. And no disrespect to Michael Rosenberg, who had to come in behind Bendis and clean it up. Like, I read his run too. I don't know, was it on Uncanny or was it adjectiveless X-Men?
I think it was the regular. I think it was like right around the X-Men blue, gold, and red era.
Yeah, because he came out immediately like around after that when the X-Men fucked off to Great Value, Age of Apocalypse. I'm sorry, Age of Legion. My bad.
Age of X.
Yeah, my fault.
The book I got duped on thinking it was some big game changer, and it was like, well, of course it was Legion that did this shit the whole time. Why am I not surprised?
Oh, you thought that shit was gonna stick? You thought that was gonna be? Oh, they were just spinning wheels until Hickman baby pulled up in the wheel.
Dog. I was eating up those designs. Gambit with a fucking rifle shooting fucking like kinetic energy bullets. I was like, oh shit, this is dope.
See, here's my thing. It's like Mike Rosenberg took over. Like I read, like I was on his for a minute, and like I really liked the first two issues when it was Cyclops and Wolverine getting the band back together and reigniting their bromance.
Yeah,
all that shit was really good. Then like the Age of X shit happened. Then I heard Hickman was taking over, and as soon as I heard Hickman was taking over, like I completely pulled the parachute, and I was like, oh yeah, this shit don't matter. Like it's awesome reality. Oh, fuck this shit. I'm done. I'm out.
Which shockingly enough, when we're talking about House of X and Power of X, Hickman has done the thing where he's doing something new with the X-Men, but everything before it still matters.
Yeah, and he's like, he isn't disrespecting things. Like, I know I said I joked on Twitter, but like, leave it to Jonathan Hickman to take a fucking meme and make it a story point.
What was the meme?
Oh, the X-Men don't stay dead.
Oh,
Spoilers. Spoilers.
Yeah. I mean, let's be real. We had 1 year of Wolverine free before Marvel was like, all right, Wolvie, you're coming back. And I was very sad because it's like, dog, yeah, Old Man Logan, and you had Laura out there wrecking house. Why do we need why do we need young Logan coming back?
Don't bury that lead, bro. Because we had Laura, we had Old Man Logan, we had Jimmy Hudson, Ultimate Wolverine, we had fucking Sabretooth.
Who came out of fucking nowhere, by the way.
Just dropped that like he dropped it again in the Bendis era X-Men. He popped up and then popped out just as quickly and was still hanging around. Is he still hanging around? He didn't go back. Wait, hold on. What? And it was an extermination when they were going to.
We'll see how these X books go, because one of the things about House of X and Power of X, there's a plot twist involving Sinister. We'll get to that in a second. And it's like, it wouldn't be surprising if he is in there. It would not be shocking if Jimmy is here somehow.
Because I'm like, yeah, they said this Wolverine is back, and I'm like, Wolverine never left. What are you talking about?
So, the basic premise of House and Power of X is that basically, the mutant population has finally said, you know what? How about we all just say fuck it all and finally legitimately come together? And I mean everyone, good or bad guys, let's all come together.
Yeah, and it's so it also hinges on the a revelation that was really controversial when it dropped, where we find out that this entire time Moira McTaggart has been a mutant.
Yeah, Moira McTaggart, she is a mutant that inherently can be reborn when she dies.
Yeah.
And it splinters off into... See, this is where it's confusing at. This is just me. Does it splinter into a new timeline, basically?
As I understand Hickman's chart, it doesn't splinter off into a new timeline, but it supersedes the current, air quotes, prime timeline.
Okay.
So what's the term? What's the term that Marvel uses? It's not a divergent timeline, but a divergent reality. Because what Marvel does when they do alternate timelines, like they split off and become their own realities. Yeah. But if I understood the chart that Hickman included right, because he had the little branching thing and how it all kind of branched in together at the end of it, is that the intent is that she reincarnates, and so that's the new now. That's the new main universe.
Okay.
I believe.
No, that makes perfect sense. And at the start of the book, you have these different timelines. You have X0, which is basically in the beginning kind of situation, right? You have, I believe, X0 is basically when Moira meets Charles, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if I was a smart man, CJ, I would have had the books in front of me.
X0 is when Moira meets Xavier back when he's in college. Then you have X10, which is basically 10 years later before they made Krakoa, and they're kind of putting things together. And then I believe you had X100, which is 100 years into the future, where shit has popped off to where Apocalypse is facing off against a Sentinel phalanx. Actually Nimrod and the Sentinels.
Yes, Nimrod and the Sentinels. Then there's the
X1000.
Was it the end timeline? Yeah, where it's the phalanx and like the machine colonies and shit. Like
they've merged with humans and mutants are not.
Like, mutants are on like a game preserve.
Mm-hmm. And the big thing with it is that initially I would say that I think the first 3 issues are taking place like 100 years into the future, and issue 2 is when they kick off the whole thing with, you know, Moira being a mutant and such. And I
forgot to mention. Mm-hmm. I forgot to also mention, because again, I'm gonna say this a lot because I want y'all to understand. Because Hickman is a big brain, you would think a weekly comic book that's 2 series that's kind of telling a concurrent story, that it's okay if you read, let's say, for example, Powers of X the week it came out, then the next week you read House of X. No. There's a fucking reading order, and you would think it would like kind of flow like that, but like you're supposed to read like 2 issues of one, then go back and read the issue of another one. Like it's in the front of the book. Like that is the correct reading order. So reading it week to week, I don't know if it's just me, but it was kind of jarring because then I have to like remind myself of sequence of events so things would flow better.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious. And I'm very curious to how this is going to be collected in a trade, because like it wouldn't make sense to do House of X in one and Powers of X in another one.
Probably gonna be combined.
Clearly supposed to be read. It should be, because they're clearly supposed to be read in a certain order.
Yeah, I think it is going to be combined. It'd be stupid to have it separate. I mean, I guess.
Then again,
it's Marvel.
We're talking about trades.
Yeah.
Marvel doing trades. Yeah.
So, I guess we'll start off with Moira. So, the big thing about Moira is a couple of things. One, she has the ability to reincarnate herself, and we see the fact that in one of the timelines, Apocalypse has his 4 horsemen, which is, I believe, Polaris is Magneto in the future. Wolverine, obviously. Who the fuck was a tree? I think it was Krakoa in tree form or something like that, merged with the Phalanx. And I forgot who the other one was. And that was Apocalypse's 4 horsemen that was left, along with Moira, who was kind of like attached to some computer thing. So we find out in that future that was Moira's 9th life, I believe. Yeah, that was her 9th life. Wolverine kills her, and then boom, the modern day is Moira's 10th life. So it's like, okay, interesting.
Yes, 616. Yeah, that's her 10th life is the main line 616, right?
Mm-hmm. So that was the big reveal, was that this is her 10th life, because apparently Moira's been doing this shit. This is her 10th time doing this shit. Getting it right. And, I mean, burying the lead here, we find out in Power of X6 that essentially no matter what Moira did, mutants still get defeated.
No, I'm just nodding here. I'm going, yep.
Yeah, Moira gets defeated, and it kind of puts Xavier and Magneto kind of in this position. Well, this is the 10th time. Things can change, which, if you know comics, clearly something's going to change to where that doesn't happen. But, circumstances are going to probably change up to where maybe the mutants don't lose, but something's going to get sacrificed in order to do that. And we also find out that Moira is actually fearful of Destiny. Now, if you don't remember, Destiny has been gone for how long?
Several years. Mm-hmm. Well, she did pop up and put the fear of God in her.
Well, she's a precog, because that was one of the stipulations about them reviving a lot of the mutants that died over the years, because we'll get to that in a second how they did it. But Moira off the break was like, don't bring back any precogs. None.
And you would think, if you're trying to build a future, or because this to me brings into questions like her motives, because if it really is about building a future and the survival of mutant kind, you would think precogs would help you predict moves. Like you wouldn't have to necessarily go through the constant death and rebirth cycle, unless you are, which by the way, the last issue of the miniseries revealed that the entire time that Moira has been puppeting Magneto and Xavier in her fucking journal entries, like just being a master manipulator.
Yeah.
Which says to me, like, she doesn't want precog because she doesn't want anybody guessing her fucking moves, because I'm thinking maybe she has some ultimate ulterior motive in hand that we haven't seen yet.
Or she could be the reason why the mutants lose.
That could be it as well.
In a way.
As well.
I mean,
what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same shit over and over again?
Mm-hmm. I mean, and just the fact that she let them take credit for what she did and set up, it's like, oh, there's something at play here.
Yeah, so I'm real suspicious of her right now.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what the Dawn of X book does in terms of her, because clearly she's going to be pretty much playing a part in this new era of Hickman X-Men, so to speak, clearly. Because I guess if we cut to the future stuff, so basically in the future, the Phalanx has gotten to a point where they have merged they've killed off mutants and they've merged humans into machines and stuff, and they're kind of like the Collector, or Brainiac, so to speak. Actually, they actually are Brainiac, essentially. They just collect all the data and they go into black holes, essentially.
Yeah.
And at one point, Wolverine is talking to one of them, and he's like, yeah, it's inevitable. You guys are going to lose. And Wolverine was like, fuck this shit. No. And he ends up killing Moira in that future, and turns out that was Moira's sixth life. So
yeah, because their whole end goal,
mm-hmm.
the Phalanx's whole end goal was like to collect data, and once they got enough, they were gonna go like, okay, we're gonna absorb as many people as we can, and then we're gonna say fuck this universe.
Yeah,
That's good.
What seems to me is like for her to come out of that on the sixth life, and then it turned into on the ninth time turn into Nimrods and Sentinels fucking up everything. It makes me wonder, like, how did we go from Phalanx in the sixth life all the way to Sentinels in the ninth life to it? Because it was way worse in that future with Apocalypse, because Apocalypse got killed in their ninth life. And that's a dude that you don't want to fuck with, period.
Exactly. Like, but so here's my thing. Like, I really like, well, I don't like, because he kind of stole my idea that I have for Age of Ultron.
Which is?
Well, it's just, I have it in tweets. I have my shit timestamped. But, like, his idea, like, when Moira thought, well, like, I can stop the Sentinel program if I kill the Trask. So she goes in and she kills all the Trask. But it turns out, like, no matter what she did, even if it wasn't a Trask, Sentinels were going to happen because they are the next step of life on the planet. Like, artificial intelligence is going to happen. Like, you can't run from it. You can't hide from it. You can't delay it. You can't stop it.
It's like Skynet.
If it was going to not be if not the Trask, it's going to be somebody. Like, it's inevitable.
Yeah.
So, I really liked that future. And the reason I'm not talking because I'm trying to thumb through and find a timeline. Because it's just like I said, it's fucking nuts.
I mean, it's definitely a lot of notes involving, because he even breaks down the Phalanx, like the hierarchy of the Phalanx, essentially. You know, and
yeah.
And on top of that, he also breaks down the whole thing with the Sentinels, because there apparently is a thing higher than Master Mold, because if you don't know, Master Mold is the thing that mass produces Sentinels. But there's another one, I think, was it what the fuck was the name of the
Mother Mode?
Yeah, the Mother Mode, which is a giant ass
Master Modes.
Mm-hmm. And the X-Men end up going straight to, because the Mother Mode is actually near the sun, and they go up there and they destroy it, which is like, it feels like, okay, they destroy it, but who's to say they don't have backup, which, at least from what the issue showed me, they destroy any sort of backup that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
So,
at great cost.
Yeah, at great cost.
Well, not that great. As we come to find out in the next issue.
Yeah, at great cost. Can
I say that, like,
mm-hmm.
what I really liked about that whole sequence is, like, in terms of, like, just good writing, like, you can see both sides of the arc. You can see both sides. They both have valid points. Like, the mutants they know the history of Sentinels. They know what Sentinels are capable of. So obviously they want to stop the Mother Mode from, turning into Skynet 2.0.
Yeah.
Humans, on the other hand, are like, yo, the X-Men have been acting like really mad villainish right now, and they just launched a fucking Black Ops team into like a research facility staffed by primarily
Gonna be honest with you, that's an understatement on them being mad terrorists and stuff. Because man,
I'm like,
man,
yeah, dude. This is one reason why I really love this fucking run, because like it's making you think about these things in like different perspectives, and it's asking all kinds of uncomfortable questions. Like,
yeah,
that scene when they're at the table coming up with the laws and they judge Sabretooth. Like, if you were to swap out those characters, well, most of the characters, but like if that was in any other book, that was like 100% that's a villain scene. Like that, those are bad guys.
I mean,
like, no questions asked.
I mean, jumping ahead, dude, look who they have as part of the fucking council, though, man.
Like, what did you expect, Charles? What do you expect to happen? Like, dude, I can see what you're trying to do.
Let's see. They got Exodus. Who else? Sinister. Apocalypse.
Jean.
Oh, the Hellfire Club, the Sebastian Shaw and Emma Frost, and one other person who is the Red Queen. So that's that. Magneto, Xavier, and Apocalypse, they're 3. And I believe Nightcrawler, Mystique, and Jean Grey.
Yes.
Yeah, and then Scott Summers and 2 other people are part of kind of like the Black Ops. I
think it's Scott, Gorgon, and Forge?
Which I forgot Gorgon is a mutant.
Is it that Gorgon or is it that Asian martial artist dude?
No, it's Gorgon.
Is Inhumans Gorgon?
Mm-hmm. Well, Gorgon, like the blind martial arts one that killed Ares' son in Secret Warriors. Yeah,
that guy. That's what I was talking about. That guy, the assassin. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot he was a mutant. I was like, damn, he is a mutant, ain't he? That's dude. The fact they got Exodus on this squad, that feels like they just put him on there to keep an eye on his ass.
I mean, I feel like that's a whole of that council. Like, if you can see, like he's seeded it equally with enemies and allies.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
like if you look at the chart, and again, if you look at the chart, look at how they're all positioned. Where you have your allies on one side and enemies on one side, he put thought into that shit. Like, he didn't just randomly pick motherfuckers and put them in the damn council. It's like, I mean, I like this character. Like,
I mean, because the fact that Xavier, Magneto, and Apocalypse are like one team, it makes sense because all 3 of them do kind of represent different facets of mutant leadership to an extent. You know, so that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And then you got Sinister, Exodus, and Mystique. They represent different aspects of mutants and stuff, which, like you said, clearly those are 3 people you need to keep an eye on. Clearly, because any 3 of them, they could probably fucking heel turn on the fucking whole thing and fuck it all up in one hit. You know,
spoilers in one timeline, Sinister does.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
Yes.
Sebastian Shaw and Emma Frost, their Hellfire Club already has a legit business already, so this is just the cherry on top. So, and that was Emma's, and that was
double dipping.
Yeah, and that was Emma's doing, trying to get Sebastian Shaw into the mix, because she was like, well, if you're gonna have me on there, I'm gonna need 2 other people on here. So, and one of them is gonna be Sebastian Shaw, and it was like, all right, cool. And then you got Storm, Jean Grey, and Nightcrawler, and then Cypher and Krakoa. So, yeah, that's. Oof. I'll say this though: Xavier and Apocalypse shaking hands. That ranks up there with Darkseid and fucking what's his face handshaking and Young Justice to me.
Vandal Savage, I don't know, man. To me, that's like that's up there with Batman and Joker fighting against the Joker, the Batman who laughs.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing of it is too that I loved is that Apocalypse was like, yo, I didn't think this would ever happen where we finally all come together, because people forget Apocalypse, yeah, he's beefed with the X-Men over the years, but his whole thing, survival of the fittest, the fact that Xavier and Magneto and Moira got this shit going, it plays into his whole survival of the fittest. Like, if we're going to really be ruling over everybody, this is it right here. So it makes sense in the grand scheme. And the thing is, I'm curious to see if Apocalypse has something else in mind too at the same time, because it's Apocalypse. There has to be something. When's the other shoe going to drop?
Normally, I would say yeah, but like it's how he's been portrayed in like some of the alternate timelines where he like, especially when he went out with that really heroic death fighting those Nimrods.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Apocalypse may have drank the Kool-Aid.
Now, here's the thing. Is this the same Apocalypse that the X-Force people broke out?
That is a very good question.
Because very good one question. Of the things that I kind of hated post the X-Force thing is when they had that short time during the Axis shit and they aged up Apocalypse. I was like, okay, so where is this going? And then Apocalypse disappeared, and then boom, now he popped back up. And I'm like, okay, but is this the same one that grew up inside the X-Mansion? I'm confused.
Yeah, that's a good question. So, like, what happened to Ethan? Was his name?
Yeah, Ethan.
Yeah. Did I miss something?
That's what I was saying. I was like, did I miss
question.
something? Two. So for a while, I think all of us on the internets, and they still haven't revealed his face. Now we know, Xavier took over Phantom X's body, essentially. Him wearing that helmet, it makes him look so close to looking like the Maker from the Ultimate Comics.
I swore I thought who that was. I promise you I thought that's who that was. I was like, why is the Maker? Like, why are they calling the Maker Xavier?
I know, and the thing of it is, the fact that they haven't shown his face, that's what makes it all weird. And I don't know if that's on purpose or Hickman is fucking with us. I don't know.
I'm going to say it's a little bit of both, because Hickman does love him some dudes in suits wearing big-ass helmets. See east of west.
Yeah. Now, somebody said that could be Zorn, which I'm like, we haven't seen Zorn.
Would he go to the Zorn well? Would he go to the Zorn well?
We haven't seen Zorn in a while.
Is that Hickman? But is that a Hickman move, though?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, it's a Grant Morrison character, and maybe he loves like Grant Morrison. You know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just a little tough.
But see, now you got me thinking.
Hey, I'm just saying, you know, it could be and such. So I guess we could talk about how the X-Men got revived. Never in my life did I ever think that they would pull out some obscure characters to show how they get revived. I'm sitting back like, so how did X-Men get revived? Because when you look at House of X #1, you know, we see Charles saying arise my X-Men and stuff, and we see him, like, there was some X-Men that came out these cocoons, and at first one of the characters had like a, you know, red coming out of his eye, and I thought that was what was Scott's brother's name?
Not Vulcan.
Yeah, I thought it was Vulcan.
Havoc? Not Havoc.
No, I thought it was Vulcan. I really thought, because later on in one I think it was Powers of X, we find out in them setting up this whole Krakoa thing, right? They, during the course of history, met up with Mr. Sinister early on in his life. And they was like, hey, look, we know you've been keeping tabs on all the mutants. So we have a deal for you. How about you keep a catalog and blood samples of every mutant? And I think one of the Sinisters was like, how about I just kill you? And then I think that's the real Sinister that came in and killed him and was like, all right, I'm down for this.
Yeah, that was like, Hickman really likes Sinister. He really likes flamboyant Sinister, because he wrote him kind of similarly in Secret Wars like that.
Very sassy. I like sassy. Sassy.
Yeah, I mean, I loved every fucking page he was on. Just chewing up that scenery.
Oh, he was being sassy at that freaking Sabretooth hearing. So basically, with them reviving the people, what they ended up doing was they got homeboy, what the fuck's the name of that character? Trying to find the book.
Gold Balls?
Yeah, Gold Ball. What you end up finding out is that Gold Balls, who was a joke of a fucking character, apparently his ball...
A business character, by the way.
Yeah. So you found out that Gold Balls, his things can turn into kind of like eggs, which essentially they put like kind of seeds in it through what the fuck's the name of that other dude? Hold on.
Elixir?
No, Elixir is the one that kind of like... Hold on, let me see. Okay, the 5. So... Oh, Proteus. So basically, Gold Ball creates the eggs. Proteus makes the husk that makes them that has the powers and this stuff, and they put the DNA inside of it. Elixir kickstarts them turning into humans and stuff. And basically, I think Eva accelerates their growth, and Hope uses the powers. Basically, Hope boosts everybody's powers to their peak abilities in order for it to happen. And then boom, that's how they revive the X-Men that got killed during their suicide mission. And I never thought that they could actually make Goldballs a legit character, but here we are.
I mean, anything is possible in Hickman.
Plus, I miss Elixir because that was quite possibly the most broken character ever during the new X-Men run.
Man, just busted. So here's a question. Here's a question that I had a couple people propose. So essentially, what happens is if someone dies because they have all the genetic materials, they create a clone body, and Xavier does a general uses Cerebro to do a backup of people of
every day.
Their mental state every day. What's it say? Like the process takes 3 days to complete, and he does like system firmware lookout security backups of everybody's memories and personalities.
It inherently leaves him vulnerable, so it's kind of like if he does it, he has to do it in a way that nobody else notices and such.
Yeah. So if you die, then they just, get that downloaded copy of your memory and put it in the genetic shell. Now, if you were reading, because I had a lot of people asking questions like, well, instead of like, at any moment you can be replaced. Now, if I'm not mistaken, CJ, and I read a lot of comic books, and that's to my detriment, in the Spider-Man clone conspiracy, where the Jackal came up and he had a thing where he was going to bring back everyone who's ever died.
Yeah.
And he brought back he did bring back a lot of characters who died. And in the aftermath of that, in the Scarlet Spider book, Ben Riley brought up the question, well, I don't think I'm really Ben Riley because, Ben Riley died and I'm, X amount of whatever clone that has been brought back after being experimented on. And I think it was Death. Was it Death? But I think they ultimately revealed that in the Marvel Universe, when you die, and if you're a clone and you're a clone perfectly, what happens is your soul orb or whatever goes into that body. Like that is now you. You are the original. It's like you go and inhabit that new space, that new form. And the reason, and the huge plot point of the Scarlet Spider book with Ben Riley was that his soul orb, because he'd been died so many times and brought back, it was corrupted. And slowly over time, because he had been brought back so many times, the corruption was slowly turning him evil. So the whole impetus of his run was, am I still a good man? And
yeah.
Now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think that was laying down the groundwork for how some clones work in the Marvel Universe. Do you think that's the case here in the Powers of X Hickman X-Men universe, or is Hickman just going to do what Hickman does and is doing his own thing?
I think he's doing his own thing because it seems to me like him putting that emphasis on, hey, I'm keeping everybody's personality stored as backups every day, right? That's his way of kind of getting past the whole idea of them being corrupted and all that stuff, because it's like, well, it's their memory, because Cyclops remembers basically his memories before he went on that mission. So as far as Cyclops knows, they succeeded and they got out alive. As far as he knows.
So then that's the question. Then are those the same people? I mean,
I would say they are. I would say they are. I would say they are to a point.
So yeah, so then how would they deal with that existential crisis? Like, in any moment, there could be somebody who just has a version of me, a version of my mind from like 2 weeks ago or a week ago, but that's not essentially me.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're probably not going to address it unless they decide to address it.
I mean, I feel like it's a huge elephant in the room. Like, you can have as many giant mutant origins as you want. I'm like, you got to address this question, dog.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is.
Which by the way, that fucking scene when they were birthing them, and Storm was giving that speech going, "This is my brother," that shit was creepy. Like, that was a cult. That's fucking dude.
Well, you know what? I appreciate the book recognizing a couple things. One, I'm glad that whole scene, Storm, they finally addressed the fact that Storm and Jean are kind of like a sister. They both see each other as sisters.
No, no. I mean, I don't think it was in that term. I think it was like in the these are my brothers. I recognize him. These is my sister. I recognize them. Like it was like indoctrination. Like it was like a cult fucking meeting. Like it was creepy as shit.
I mean, it's the X-Men. It's that whole brotherhood aspect of it. So yeah.
I don't know. It's a whole, like I said, it's a whole new light.
I mean, I'm still looking at Storm a little sideways. Like, yeah, Storm, aren't you? Don't you kind of sort of have residence in Wakanda? So how is this going to work?
Maybe she revoked it.
I mean, Xavier flexing on everybody in that telepath message, basically. So the basic crux with Xavier on his end is they're making Krakoa like its own country, basically.
A sovereign nation, if you will.
Yeah, a sovereign nation.
By the way, I'm glad Magneto had that pushback where he's like, "Y'all, we tried this shit once. Are you fucking serious?"
Yeah. Well, is he talking like Genosha?
I was like, "Is that about Genosha? You talking about Asteroid M? Which time, Magneto? Count them up for him."
I mean, you could count the time the X-Men had Alcatraz. You know.
You could. True.
They had Alcatraz, and I'm like, oh, that could have worked, but you know, it went the way it went.
Sit.
Hey, man, that whole time when they were on Alcatraz, it was very hit and miss to me, to be honest. Weird time. Jubilee turned into a vampire. That was strange.
I'm gonna be honest, man. Not a fan of San Francisco. Period, man. Not a fan.
I mean, the shit had to burn down. That's why I was like, yo, the Phoenix 5, the shit had to go somehow, so you might as well fucking put the Phoenix 5 in there to burn that shit down.
I believe they chose wisely in that case.
Yeah. Speaking of which, so Namor being the dick that he is, but he could be right. He isn't really down for the whole Krakoa thing. And I'm not shocked, to be honest.
Oh, that's totally on brand.
Because basically, I'm paraphrasing here. He's basically like, yo, this shit ain't gonna fucking work. You know that, right? They're still extending
like how
to
he
him.
told Xavier. I was like, he told Xavier to come back when you get some act right.
Basically, I mean, because I'm gonna be real, Xavier out here walking and got that fucking big ass helmet. He been big dick swinging this from jump.
I know, right? This big dick energy, nothing but suit, 3 pieces and fucking ties. Not giving a fuck. Like, look at me, bitch, I'm smooth.
No, but the fact that he rode up to Emma that way, like, yo, Emma, so I'm recruiting you, and you're gonna go to the UN.
Dog. That sexual tension, though. I was like, oh wow, Charles got that big dick energy down.
I mean, enough to tell Emma, hey, I want you to go to the UN and basically be like, hey, the X-Men are a sovereign nation now, Krakoa, and because basically what we saw at the beginning of House of X is that they've been setting flowers in different parts of the world, and basically what these flowers do is that each of the flowers basically birth the whole island and stuff, and it's kind of like, I guess Krakoa itself is kind of like a computer kind of setup and stuff. They basically, you go to this part, I think they had one set up near the X-Mansion, the Moon, Mars, Savage Land, DC, and Jerusalem. So basically, we see Xavier talking to some of those ambassadors and stuff, and you find out about it in the book that Xavier knows that some of those ambassadors are actually spies. And he just calls them out. On top of that is the fact that you got Cyclops basically, you know, talking to the Fantastic Four. And I love the fact that Cyclops reminds them, yeah, so, yeah, tell Franklin he has a family to stay with if he ever decides to leave you guys.
Because fuck humans, that's why.
Yeah. So, again, hey, look, man, the whole X-Men team has big dick energy at this stage. I mean, that's just what it is. So, basically, what they're offering is this. You make us a sovereign nation, we'll give you these different pills that can help you as humans. One can basically, cure diseases. Another can extend your lifetime by, was it, how many years?
Shoot, I don't remember. But it's like basically just a wonder drug MacGuffin.
Yeah.
Now here's my question to you. How long until that drug starts turning people into mutants?
I feel it's going to be the same way when Tony tried to make, you remember he had the extremists on an app kind of situation?
Oh, Superior Iron Man? Of course.
Yeah, I feel it's going to be like that, where there's going to be some sort of downside to it. I just have a feeling. I have a feeling.
I feel like they're doing some better living through chemistry and altering people's genetic codes. That's what I feel was going on.
I mean, I'm looking for Dr. Nemesis there. Like, yo, is Dr. Nemesis there to do some examination of these pills?
I'm like, so let me get this straight. So he just gave a speech about how he's mad as hell about how we've done his whole entire species dirty, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's literally said we've killed their children. And go like to prevent from going to war. I'm gonna give all you guys this pharmaceuticals. This seems legit. Really, y'all?
Well,
really, everybody?
Well, let's be real. Xavier is playing up on the stupidity of humans because humans are stupid. Let's be real. And if you tell them that there's a pill that can help them extend their life, wouldn't you sit there as a human, and be like, okay, we can take that?
Dude, I'm not taking a pill from Osama bin Laden.
I'm not either. I'm just saying we as humans can be stupid, especially humans in higher power. We get stupid. And I think that's what Xavier's banking on. Like, oh, they're going to take us in the UN, if anything. And I'm like, well, he has a good point on that, but still, this is a risky thing that you're doing here.
And shit worked out for them. They took
now.
that hook, line, and sinker.
I mean, hey, when you destroy the mother mold, and you're basically on like a victory tour and stuff, I mean, you can't blame them. That's all I'm saying. I mean,
exactly.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you know. So, I mean, but what makes it wild though, and this is probably why I like the whole saga, is that they were able to craft the stories and stuff, and you know where exactly, we're kind of at this point where we don't know where it's going to go. Who's the bad? Like at this point, who's the bad guy? Who's really the bad guy now? Because all the bad guys are on the island now.
I mean, I feel like it's gonna. I hope you're all strapped in and ready for some political intrigue shit going on, because there's going to be a whole lot of backstabbing. It's going to be a whole lot of machinations going on, and I'm pretty proof positive. In some of those books, he laid down seeds of like future storylines and some of those journal entries.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, because Hickman's big brain, he explains things multiple times. He's dropped like several big ass bombs. Like, I'm doing Onslaught. Onslaught's coming, guys. Get ready for it.
I hate the fact that you even want to bring up Onslaught, man.
Look, man, I'm not the one that wrote the book. I'm not the one that dropped the hints. I'm just reading look. Calling out when I'm pointing out what he's laying down.
Because I'm not a fan of Onslaught anyway, so I'm like, if you're gonna do Onslaught, the shit better be fucking good. That's all I'm saying.
I'm saying if anybody's gonna do Onslaught, I trust Hickman. If he was gonna do it, I'm sure it'll be fine.
I'm sure it is. I mean, I think we put a lot of faith in it and stuff. Here's my thing. What's up with Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch now?
That's what I asked on Twitter yesterday. I was like, yo, where they been? Where they at?
Because they're not mutants anymore, because we found out that what the fuck is the name of that the high evolutionary is the one that basically, you know, made them essentially. So
now, see, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't expect that shit to stick since they got the rights back now and everything's all glory under the sun. I'm pretty sure.
How does Hickman do it? Are they gonna take the Wonder Pill and they turn to mutants now?
I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna do it. I don't know if it's gonna be Hickman that's gonna be doing it, but I'm pretty sure fairly down the line, since they got all the rights back, and we all under one happy roof, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, he was lying.
Also, is Wanda even welcome back after House of M though?
Here's my thing though, so like it really kind of made me a little mad a little bit, where in one of the books they talked about in the front, like the atrocities brought on to mutant kind by humans.
Mm-hmm.
and they listed on there as a human Scarlet Witch, and I'm like, oh, that's fucked up.
That's your peoples. It be
They just
it be your own peoples.
Like, right. It be your own people, and they straight up disowned her. Like, goddamn, okay.
I mean, we haven't seen Quicksilver in a while too, so maybe they will sit there and retcon that shit a little bit.
I'm like, so what is up with that? Like, isn't that odd? Like, after that was Avengers No Road Home?
Yeah.
Or was it No Road Home or No Surrender?
I think No
No
Surrender.
Road Home. Was it No Surrender? And one of those fucking weekly books. And then they had like a Quicksilver follow-up. And after that, like, they just fucking disappear. Like, I think Wanda pops up occasionally in like group shots. But she doesn't say anything.
I mean, it's very telling when you look at the fact that Magneto has a very nice moment with his daughter Lorna, who is like who for a longest time, Lorna was like his bastard child that he really did not recognize like that.
I mean,
despite the fact he has the same powers as her, but you know, she has the same powers.
You would think, and that's one reason I kind of like Wolverine and X-Men, because like in that cartoon, she was his baby girl.
Oh yeah, she was the baby girl, and he spoiled the shit out of her. Clearly,
like just made like clear favorites. Eric, you fucking dick.
I mean, because we saw that future in that show where she has Magneto's helmet and cape, and I'm like, oh, you clearly were his favorite. Clearly,
you clearly was a daddy's little girl.
Which I was, you know what? I actually like that kind of scenario. It's like if you're gonna do it that way.
It makes sense. It fucking makes sense. And like. And organically, like, that could have, like, if you kept Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver as kids, that could clearly create, like, some really good fucking drama. Like, yo, of course he fucking likes her the most because they have the same fucking powers.
Yeah. I mean, even in the House of X book, they never really addressed it. She's part of that House of M family, but they don't really address it.
Maybe people just don't know how to write Lorna. Yeah. I'm still waiting for her fucking time to shine. I mean, I like Lorna.
I mean, you have to kind of go all the way back to the Emperor Vulcan run, where she was like running wild with her powers. I mean, at least to me, that was the last time she actually shined.
I mean, I was hoping the Gifted was gonna give her some clout, but I guess not.
Man, especially considering how good that she was in the Gifted, to be honest. I mean,
one of the best characters in that entire show.
Power set and all, and I was like, I love this. Because clearly she was channeling some Michael Fassbender level of acting. Clearly.
Like, can I get some more of this, Mr. Fox? No? Oh, okay. That's cool.
It's like, nah, Disney bought them, so no more seasons. God damn it. Oh, man.
Oh. Which, by the way, like I said, what's really to me is unsettling about this X-Men book. And I'm gonna piggyback on since we're talking about the shows and piggyback on Legion. One of the main cores of like the last episodes in the seasons of this past season of Legion was that people see things wrong. Like tribalism isn't good. It's not us versus them. It's us and them.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's why I'm like, you know, the X-Men essentially being like a fucking cult now and, like, drawing that huge line in the sand and completely perverting Xavier's initial vision, which, by the way, y'all, that is the correct vision to have, the peace and harmony, living as one.
Hey, look, man, let's be real. Xavier was just like, look, we tried that shit multiple times. It didn't fucking work. Magneto tried this way. It didn't fucking work. Apocalypse tried this shit. It didn't work. Fuck it. Let's just try it this way and see what happens.
Exactly. Like, look, it's going to be good for a story. But, like, I don't see this ending well, my dude. That's
all I'm saying is, who's going to heel turn? That's all I'm saying. Who's going to do the heel turn?
We already know one going to be Sinister, because like that whole future arc where it turned out like he sold out the fucking genetic codes and shit.
Hey, Sinister is too obvious. I would say Apocalypse, but Apocalypse wouldn't do that because Apocalypse is still about like, hey, survival of the fittest, and he would never want to.
Told you, he drank the Kool-Aid. He's all in. He's 100% in on this.
Yeah, so I don't know. This is weird. Part of me thinks Mystique is going to be the one that's going to do it. Because for those that don't know, last issue, Moira, Mags, and Xavier have a conversation about destiny, and the reason why they got Mystique as part of the council is because Mystique was like, well, I'll be on the council if you bring back destiny. And Xavier and them were having a conversation. Xavier's like, well, we can blah bringing back destiny for a long time. But the thing that I liked about it is that Mags and Xavier warned Moira, like, eventually, hey, you're going to have to tell everybody what's going to happen.
Moira's like, fucking kids.
Yeah, man, listen. Fucking
She's like, that
kids.
bitch burned me alive. Hell no. She's like, hell no.
I mean, so that ties into...
That whole issue, though. Mm-hmm. That whole issue when Destiny was like, look, if you fuck us over again, I will find you. As soon as you use your power, I will know. And I will come for you.
She put the fear in God in her ass. She really did. I mean, that's...
She's like, I'm not fucking with that crazy bitch. Hell no.
Like, oh,
no, sir. No precogs.
Destiny? What's that?
Who that is? Where they sell that at?
But
I don't recall that person.
But like you said, it's like, okay, so she knows that the mutants are going to die. It's not like Destiny can't prevent that from happening too. So it's like you said, wouldn't you want Destiny to be there to kind of shape everything?
If your whole thing is like, fighting the future, like, wouldn't you want precogs on the island to help you shape the future unless you are shaping the future in a specific purpose and specific way? And you don't want anybody interrupting your Justice Kikaku?
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard to sit there and see what they want.
I mean, yeah, I can speculate all day. But, I'm just going to, like I say, I'm going to do what I normally do and just trust in Hickman's wild ride.
It's going to be, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be Mystique and Moira that's going to heel turn. And it's going to be based around Destiny. Because clearly Destiny...
No, I'm pretty sure Moira is like 100% the villain. Like she's big brain master mode and some shit. But what is she's trying to do? I don't know yet because like I said, we don't have the whole picture.
We just know that she doesn't want Destiny coming back. That's all we know.
That much. At the end of the last issue, when she came out like fucking the boss Vix McMahon, like it was me the whole time pulling y'all strings, bitches.
The higher power is back.
Just like we brought you some tea. She's like, don't give me that bullshit. What the fuck y'all want?
I mean, but there are a lot of characters, so I'm questioning on what's up with the Morlocks now. Cable, what's up with him? Is he gonna come back?
Yeah. Because I mean, right now we got teen sexy Cable running around.
Oh, you mean Nate X?
Nate, that's fuck. You fucking leave Riverdale Cable alone, damn it.
Hey,
leave CW Cable alone. You let that man be sexy.
No, I'll let him be sexy. I'm just saying, he was Jesus a couple of years ago. I do remember that. You remember that, don't you?
I remember that shit. So, like, what was up with him? Like, that whole period where, like, he would just pop up randomly on team books. Like, there was a period where Cable was an Avenger. Y'all remember that shit?
I remember very distinctly he was an Avenger. It was crazy.
And then he does what Cable always does and goes, you know what, fuck all this shit, and he just vamps out. Like, for real, Cable?
I mean, yeah. So, basically, Fallen Angels, that's the one that the Riverdale Cable is going to be part of. It's going to be, I think it's him and Psylocke as part of the team. You got New Mutants, number 1, X-Force, number 1, Excalibur, number 1, which has me interested just because of, Captain Britain and all of them and stuff. Marauders, number 1, and then you got X-Men, number 1.
Oh, and also, don't forget, there's going to be a jumping on point called Dawn of X.
Yeah, Dawn of X is kind of like the
zero issue. There's going to be like, how they do, like,
probably setting up all the books.
Yeah, the setup book.
Yeah.
And also, there's going to be a Wolverine book.
Because of course it is.
And,
why wouldn't it be? It wouldn't be X-Men without Wolverine, sir.
fucking obvious. Like, why we even question that? And I also think they're bringing back Aesthetic, but I can't remember what the name of the book was.
I mean, yeah.
So the reason I bring that up, is because one of the things that was tanking the X-Men books before this huge relaunch is guess what? There were too many titles. There were a whole lot of redundant titles. Like, don't get me wrong. I like a lot of the characters. And I like the X-Men being separated into like different teams.
Mm-hmm.
But like, dog, why was there X-Men, X-Men Blue, X-Men Gold, X-Men Red? Fold that shit together. What are y'all doing?
Well, because they had to give Jean Grey her own team because she came back. You see,
you gotta get the number one money. So they
just say it.
So then they go, you know what? There are too many X-Men books with the X-Force and all. Like, let's just fold all this shit together and let's just relaunch with Springboard. So they launch it, they pare it down, announce one writer, announce the creative team. They announce the 2 miniseries. Okay, that's a good idea. Then what does Marvel do? Marvel went full Marvel and immediately announced like 10 more books. Like, what the fuck, dude?
So Marauders #1 is basically going to be Kitty Pryde. Pirate Kitty Pryde, we should say. And it's going to be her, Storm, Pyro, Bishop, and Iceman.
Okay, now I will say this. I like how this new era is going to allow for some really interesting team dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hope that the writers who aren't Hickman don't rest on their laurels and don't just like actually like experiment. Like, I don't think we're ever gonna get an era of X-Men like this maybe ever again. So while we have it, I really want to see it get explored as fully as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be kind of interesting actually. So Excalibur is going to be kind of their magic book apparently, because that's going to be Captain Britain, Rogue, Gambit, Jubilee, Richter, and Apocalypse.
See, like, you say that, and that book, there's like just the roster gets me excited without even hearing what the fucking premise is. Like, I want to just pick up that book just to see what the dynamic of that team is going to look like.
Yeah, and then Fallen Angels is basically Psylocke, Cable, and X-23, which I'm like, that's a very small team. Interesting.
It's going to be some Black Ops shit going down.
And then you got X-Force, which has Domino, Kid Omega, Wolverine, Beast, Jean Grey, and Sage. Which I believe I read, I think it was in Comic Book Resources, they dubbed X-Force the CIA of the mutant world, basically.
See, like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, that sounds so interesting. So I really want to see what that's going to look like.
Like Mission Impossible?
But that said, like, yeah. But that said, like, I don't want them to do all this groundwork of refreshing the X-Men and, starting from a new ground up to just repeat the same shit and clog the shelves with a bunch of redundant X-Men books all over again.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. It's like, if all your bad guys are on the same thing and they basically clearly are all have, and again, the rules that they have in place is interesting because essentially it's don't kill humans. What was the other ones? Don't kill humans. Mate, I guess. Multiply.
So be fruitful and multiply.
Yeah.
And
I'm trying to think.
It was another real hedonistic one, wasn't it?
I think was it Society. Trying to remember. I'm not a mutant. So, design laws, the council firstly, mutants must make other mutants. Mutants shall not murder humans, and the land of Krakoa must be respected. Those are the rules. So basically, mutants can't mate with humans?
I mean, I don't see why not, because that doesn't necessarily mean you're resulting in a human. I mean...
Well, I mean, yeah.
Two humans can make a mutant.
I mean, we did clearly see two mutants make a mutant-hating asshole in Great Creed.
True.
Which is kind of interesting how that works. It's like, Your dad's an asshole. Your dad's an asshole. Which, yeah, you deserve to have a son that hates mutants. You fucking beat his ass every day. What did you think was gonna happen, dude? But again, I don't think Sabretooth really gave a shit, to be honest. So
not one.
Yeah, which I got a question and stuff because maybe I never read deep into it. Did they ever go deeper into that relationship with Graydon Creed and Sabretooth and Mystique? Because I felt the cartoon kind of sort of did a little bit, but I don't know about the comics.
I feel like they may have, but like I'm vaguely remembering something, but like I don't want to say 1,000% yeah or nay, but I think maybe they did.
Yeah,
I feel like they did.
Kind of like the cartoons.
I feel like how could you not? I feel like how could you not? Well, you know, a lot of the X-Men cartoon from Fox, like a lot of those scripts are like repurposed comics, like so.
Probably. I mean, probably.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I remember hearing somebody say that, like, also too, because again, my remembrance of the Claremont era is like certain big storylines and stuff. But somebody was mentioning how there's a lot of stuff in the Chris Claremont books that Hickman pulled from for this whole series too.
I heard that too. I mean, I'm not surprised because, like I said, Hickman he respects lore. He does research, unlike other writers who shall remain nameless on this podcast.
I mean, the shade throwing is there. I mean, I get it.
If you know me, you know who I'm talking about.
We here at Comic Book Corner, we will throw shade if we have to.
I mean, it's bring an umbrella, bitch. So like, I can totally see that. I'm totally cool with that because, like I said, Hickman respects things. He like it totally makes sense to pull from the history because like Hickman's one of those writers I like who doesn't see continuity as like a hindrance. He sees it as a challenge. He sees it as something to be utilized and used.
I mean, he might as well because I think he follows that thing of like everything is a straight line kind of thing. So hey, why not pull from your past?
I mean, you can only enrich the characters, like, and you can only, it actually helps you as a writer because if it puts you into constraints, and they have to think creatively. Okay, how can I work around with these conframes?
Yeah.
Unlike certain writers who just come in and just goes, well, I'm not gonna pay attention to that story or herp derp derp. Even the ones I write, herp derp derp derp. Again, if you know me, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. I mean, clearly. So here's my thing too. I need people to also understand that despite the things that Jonathan Hickman was doing, I really don't want the MCU X-Men, to build off this, because I think that kind of will put them in a position of, I don't know, it'll probably put them in a weird position a little bit.
I would say it will explain why we never seen them because they've been fucked off in their own island nation.
Well, see, that's why I feel.
But that said, I feel like. Oh, go ahead.
That's why I feel the Eternals movie sounds like it's going to set up mutants.
I mean, I hope so.
I mean, because like I finished reading Neil Gaiman's book on Eternals, and the Eternals basically were doing some Clash of the Titans. Hey, let's put some mutant humans in there and mix in some because what we find out with the Eternals is that they've been basically fucking with basically humankind over the years, to where they put seeds in them to where an external source is what jumpstarts powers. So there's a reason why you have a Bruce Banner, when he gets hit with radioactivity, he turns into the Hulk instead of just dying of radiation poisoning. There's a reason why you have a Captain America turning out the way he turned out. And they also made the mutants. That's another thing. So I'm curious to see how they do that. And maybe you're all right. Maybe it is a mix of the Eternals and also, hey, the mutants just been kind of like had latent DNA and it just didn't manifest itself.
Now I heard I read one theory that like if they do that, I wouldn't mind that because I think that'd be kind of neat.
Yeah,
is that the mutants have always been there? It's just that like Xavier's been cloaking them.
That's a hefty. That's a heft. I mean, that makes him probably. That would make him top tier telepath.
I mean, he already is, but like I agree, and I agree with you. Like, I really hope they don't drop him this run because I feel like if this is how we're going to reintroduce the X-Men to the normies, to the mainstream,
yeah.
As much as I'm digging this, I feel like this might be a little too out there for them.
It's too ambitious more than anything.
Yeah, they might be like, what?
And plus, there's a lot of history involved to pull something like this off. If we're going to be real. I mean, because the only way because it only works because of the history that you're doing it. Like, if you really if you take a look at all these books, it builds on the whole history of the X-Men, the relationship between Magneto and Xavier. Like, that final scene of them saying, "Look what we did," and all the fireworks is going off and everything and stuff, and they're buddy and stuff. That's what Xavier and a little bit in the movies too. That's who Xavier and Magneto's were. They've been best friends for a while. And it's basically kind of a what if they put their shit aside. And both of them even address it at one point, I think during year 0, where Magneto's like, hey, we've beefed with each other for the longest time. I guess we do need to put our issues aside and make this work. So, I mean, this is crazy. And that's also not even factoring in how's the Phalanx going to factor in, considering they have a Phalanx on the island too. That's part of Krakoa.
Well, I'm figuring it's gonna. I don't know exactly. I really can't wait to see how all this is gonna come together and play out. Especially with like how did you see the chart in the last issue where it talked about life on Earth and like parallel evolution? Like there's Homo superior, Homo sapien, then what did he call the marriage of machine and people? Where it says like they spring up simultaneously in an environment and like one precedes the other, then feeds the other.
Yeah. I mean,
what did he call it? Damn it, Hickman, what did you call it? Anyway, but you know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah. I'm just like all those charts. Like I'm pretty sure like if we go back and look at all those charts and all those journal entries. He's laid the map for what his run is going to look like, and he's seeded all the clues in.
Dog, he made Krakoa have its own language. Like, do you have to... Like, imagine you're writing this book, and you have to make up a language from the ground up. That's crazy to me.
Hickman, don't care. Don't care. I'm doing it.
I mean, that's wild. Like, you just... Like, I mean, it's not to say we haven't seen this in media before where we've seen movies where they have to make up a language because, in Black Panther, they had to make up the Wakandan language, like, merging all these other real-world dialects, right? But to do it in comic book form to the point to where you translate the letters of Krakoan letters. That's crazy.
And I also like how we didn't get that translation guide until the...
Third, I think it was at the end of the third issue, I believe. So
yeah,
I mean, yeah, man, this is definitely worth the read and stuff. I actually have the reading order in front of me, and I'll put that in the show notes. So basically, it went.
Yeah, so I'm
all right. So it went House of X #1, Power of X. Actually, House of X #1, which was the house that Xavier built. Power of X #1, The Last Dream of Professor X. House of X #2, The Uncanny Life of Moira X. Power of X #2, We Are Together Now, You and I. Power of X #3, and this is where the confusion lies in that, This Is What You Do. House of X #3, Once More Unto the Breach. House of X #4, It Will Be Done. Power of X #4, Something Sinister. House of X #5, Society. Power of X #5, For the Children. House of X #6, I Am Not Ashamed. And Power of X #6, House of X.
So I think what I'm going to do, now that it's all come out, is I'm going to get all of it. I'm going to read it in reading order and see how does this story flow then.
Yeah. Because also another X factor we didn't factor in. So how are the Avengers and the Fantastic Four going to factor into this?
Yeah, good question. Now, like when this came out and they revealed the Annihilation, and I saw a lot of people like being excited, like, "Oh man, the X-Men are gonna be finally separate." I have never liked that idea. Like, I've always thought that was dumb.
Because they always
Like,
interacted with everybody to an extent.
yeah, like they don't ever interact anyway, and I'm like, okay, well, clearly one, that's a fucking lie because you never read a fucking book in your life.
And two,
Because there's
Wolverine.
always characters going in and out, and interacting with each other.
And two, Wolverine
Like,
is kind of
they may
like
not
the
like.
third player for all of them. Because Wolverine is kind of like the tether to the Avengers and X-Men kind of talking. Because Wolverine is an honorary Avenger, so there you go.
Sir, that was Beast, sir.
Oh, my
Beast,
bad.
Beast did it
Sorry.
first.
I gotta put some respect on Beast's name. I forgot Beast was an Avenger before Wolverine. My bad. Sorry. Apologies.
But yeah, like sure, like yeah, sometimes they don't pop up in like the big events for each one, but like that's because that's specifically that team's big event.
Yeah.
Like the fuck.
I mean, what'd you think was gonna happen, guys?
I'm like, come on, like dudes, come on. So like I've never liked that mindset. Like the X-Men should be separate. No, they should. Shut up.
I think it's one of
So-
those. Do they have to team up every time? No, they can do their own thing, but at the same time, it's like, come
Exactly.
on,
Exactly.
guys.
They exist in the same universe. Come on, man. Like
Just
I live
like-
in the same world as Idris Elba, but we don't intercross and interact at all. Goddamn it! Come on. That is possible.
I mean, it isn't like what you said about the Marvel Netflix, where yeah, they're in the MCU, but it's kind of like, hey, you remember that one time Luke Cage was fighting in Harlem? Do you remember that, Cap? Remember? Oh, you don't remember, huh?
Literally huge. Like I said, like I 100% agree. Like the Netflix, the movies are canon to Netflix. I'm kind of dubious on if the Netflix is canon to the movies. Like it's the girlfriend in Canada situation over there.
Hey, look, we're already seeing Kevin Feige kind of regulating shit now because you saw what he did with Ghost Rider, right?
I hope y'all ready for that Ghost Rider movie.
I mean, I was
guarantee
loving Reyes and stuff, and then Kevin Feige was like, you know what, we're gonna start off with Johnny Blaze. So I hope you guys enjoyed that Agents of Shield Ghost Rider, which was still dope. But we're gonna start off with that. Y'all have fun with Hellstrom.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, give my toys back, bitch.
I mean, I'm conflicted a little bit.
Because what that says to me, like, cause wait a minute, we're getting Blade. They snatched Ghost Rider off TV. Kevin Feige, you son of a bitch. If you give me Midnight Suns, you son of a bitch, you better be giving me Midnight Suns.
Get ready for that Man-Thing movie to be canon now.
Ooh, boy.
I joke, people. Don't fucking write hate letters now. I did not like that Man-Thing movie at all.
How did you feel?
I got duped.
Fucking movie.
I paid $5 at the
movie wanted to
fucking
be Swamp Thing so bad.
dude. Prime, that fucking DVD cover made you think it was fucking Swamp Thing. Don't get it twisted.
It wanted to be Swamp Thing so bad. Like, oh, look at it, it's trying.
Which is
How
sad because
embarrassing.
it's such a shitty. It does such a shitty disservice to fucking Man-Thing because Man-Thing is more than just.
The disrespect. The disrespect the Man Thing in that fucking movie, man.
That was during that time before the MCU. Marvel was just throwing shit at the fucking wall to see what stuck.
Didn't that shit air on Sci-Fi Channel? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. That was supposed to be some ambitious movie, and then somebody was like, yeah, throw the shit on DVD.
But like, who got the money for that shit? Ambition. If you don't take this shit out the back alley, go to my niece's house and
That's why
film
I
them
talk to
damn
people.
scenes.
People talk cash shit about Disney all day and stuff in the MCU, but I'm like, guys, I want you to remember that period of time after the fucking wave of the X-Men movies and Blade and all that died down, and we got that shit. Yeah, we need the MCU because we would have continued having that bullshit. They would have kept going with that bullshit. I'm sorry, like I remember, like I'm not even a Man-Thing fan, but even I was sitting back like, this is a Marvel character. And I had to go online back then to look up Man-Thing, and I'm like, this character is pretty dope. What the fuck is this movie?
You know my thing. Like, I may not be a fan of like every character, but like I feel like every character is deserving of respect because it is somebody's favorite character.
Yeah.
So,
Man, that was oof.
Just let it go, CJ. We're out of the dark ages now. We are in solid comic book adaptation land. All is right in the world.
I mean,
for the most part.
But yeah, like I said, overall, like I'm just looking at folks like, hey, I hope you guys enjoy this whole run. If you haven't, definitely go out and get them. I still need to get that cover that was based off of the, I think the X-Men Gold team. I think it was like, I forgot which, I think it was House of X4 and Power of X4. You combine both covers.
You can do that with a lot of these books. I can't wait to get like the incentive fucking posters when they do come out.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm trying to remember, there's one that I really wanted, but I didn't give a shit enough to hunt down the cover. But I was like, I wouldn't want it as a cover. I would more want it as a picture on the wall.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
there's a really dope Apocalypse one.
Yeah. Man, oh man. Yeah, like I said, I was excited. I think this is a good springboard. Because let me ask you this before we leave out of here. In your opinion, do you feel me and you and a lot of other people knowing the history of the X-Men up to this point, it gives us an advantage in enjoying the story more versus somebody that is fresh jumping into this book?
Okay, so again, I'm of a mind frame that, every comic book is somebody's first comic book, and like necessarily you don't have to know everything. Now, I will say us being longtime readers, like we can pick up on little shit and we can appreciate like callbacks and allusions. And I'm like I said, I picked out that onslaught drop because he did it dude. I swear to God, he dropped it 3 times. I'm like, this motherfucker's gonna do onslaught. And I feel like we get like a little like enjoyment out of that, but like it doesn't take anything away. Like you can jump into, I feel like you can jump into this brand new. Like if you've never picked up an X-Men comic book and you just want to like, hey, I want to check out to see what's brand new, I think this is a pretty decent or decent-ish jumping on point.
Yeah.
No fuss, no muss.
Yeah.
Because I think he explains, like I said, he explains everything pretty adequately, and you're not left behind.
He's like a teacher. He gives you bulletins here. It's like, hey, you confused? Read this.
Like you got an issue. Here's an outline. Here's a chart. But like, I mean, look, hey, he does it. I'm not. Where am I lying?
Zero lies.
So, I feel like. No, I think it's cool. Like like I said, we may have the advantage where like we can like pick up things a little faster. We know the history, so like certain things pay off, like that Axis powers coming together moment with Charles Xavier and Apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
We get the impact of that, but like a new reader can go, oh, well, this guy's the leader of the X-Men, and this guy's apparently used to be an enemy of the X-Men, and so they're coming together. So that's still a momentous moment. Is a newcomer going, oh, so whatever they're about to face together, they're facing united. So that I can see that that's a monumentous moment just on the face of that, just on the outside looking in. So like, yeah, that's where I stand.
Yeah, I mean, I stand on it too because I for me, I think it does, like you said, it gives people that jumping in, you get an understanding that Charles and Xavier and Max had a relationship that was like they were at odds, and I think having those conversations in the book interspliced at certain points, it gives the readers an idea of what their relationship was at certain points. But also at the same time, it is kind of a fresh start, so to speak. So like you said, we do have the advantage of knowing the history. Because, somebody had asked me, and I was like, well, that's kind of tough because I would just say, hey, read the Claremont runs. Read, House of M. Read Messiah Complex. I mean, if you want to read Axis, sure. I mean, if you want to wiki it, go for it, just to speed yourself up in the process.
I wouldn't, though. I wouldn't read Axis.
Axis is pointless. Axis is fucking pointless, so yeah. Don't read Axis, people. Please don't. That, you know what? In the history, we got to have a separate podcast on cash grab fucking event books that Marvel did that were forgettable. I'm looking at you, fucking Age of Ultron.
That episode will be long as shit.
Age of Ultron. Put it this way, I can name off a couple. Age of Ultron, Axis, Original Sin to a point, but without Original Sin, we wouldn't have got Lady Thor. So, whatever.
Still pretty pointless. Yeah. You could have done that. You could have done that Thor book.
What the fuck was that book with the fucking Sin was like had the fuck was Sin leading the god snake or whatever and shit. And
Fear itself.
Fear itself, which that shit should have got.
Which by the way, their big thing, they changed status quo. They're like, we killed Thor, who came back 2 issues later.
We killed Bucky, but then Nick Fury pulled out the last of the Infinity Juice to give it to Bucky to revive him so he could be Winter Soldier again.
Womp, 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 womp.
I mean, guys, if you didn't want Bucky to be Captain America for a long time, there's a better ways to do it without quote-unquote killing him.
I mean, dude. Also, the fucking clone conspiracy. Well, yeah, that was pretty pointless.
Yes and no on that one. Yes and no.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm like, well, we got Ben back, but like, did we really though? Because they immediately canceled the book. I know, right? Dude, I was so fucking mad. That's why I'm glad Peter David did the Lord's work and tried to repair some of that damage. But I'm like, it's still just not the same though.
I mean, right now we got the man who did Sam Wilson cap on Spider-Man.
Nick Spencer.
Yeah, Nick
Spencer.
Spencer.
Book, mad props to him because, like, he's a divisive writer to say the least. Mm-hmm. For the most part, I like Nick Spencer. Like, I don't have a major issue with him. When he focuses on the story, but I really like that he disappeared off of social media for a while. It looks like he hunkered down and did his research, and he came back and was like, "Yo, I'm just gonna tell some really good Spider-Man comic books."
Yeah,
and that's what he's been doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's where we're at right now. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm loving this new status quo. I'm curious to see where the books go. I'm hoping, like I said, I'm with you in the fact that I'm hoping that these new round of books actually do something. I mean, we always want these books. We always want comic books to do something different. So I'm hoping they're not treading that same territory.
Yeah, just don't, because you already just did the fucking X-Men Unlimited, like just 2 years ago, where you had all of these fucking teams running around at the same time and doing the same exact team shit. Like, I don't understand. Like I said, I still don't understand why there were so many different books that were essentially doing the same thing, where you could have just folded them all in together and just had the characters interact. Like, if we're all essentially just doing the same thing, like X-Men goes on random mission 15, like, why does it have to be anyway? Whatever.
Yeah, so it is what it is. But yeah, folks, that's us talking about the House of X, Power of X book. Like I said, the God Hickman. Yeah, I'm definitely going to jump on East of West and see what that book's about. Maybe we'll talk about that. But next time, whenever we do Comic Book Corner, we definitely are going to talk about that Power Ranger book. Oof. But good things. We're going to end it on a good note. Read Power of X, House of X. You can get all the books. It's available now. Go Comic Bookology, local comic book store, read it all. Hell, it's a 3-day weekend this weekend. Take the time out to go read it.
Yeah, or if you want to wait, man, just I'm pretty sure in a few months the trade's going to be out, and I wouldn't, like I said, I really want to see how they're going to handle the trade.
Yeah. I mean, especially with
like
the
part 1, part 2 thing. Like
especially with the notes.
They keep the reading order.
It makes sense to keep the reading order. If I never collected the trade for the New Avengers run, so I'm assuming they went in order in that trade. I'm assuming.
You know what? No, they didn't. Cause I have the first 2 digitally. Like, I have all the singles, but I have Avengers 1 and New Avengers, the first trades of those, and those where they were like really going heavy in the paint, where they were like telling a parallel story. Oh, and they did them both separately. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, one thing of minor note, you might be asking yourself, how did they make the mother mold? So you remember that little event in Secret Wars where they made the forge and such? Yeah, that's how that happened. So clearly, again, Hickman is pulling from his own book of shit that happened from Secret Wars, and which I have to imagine some of that shit's going to factor into the future of the X-Men, because you don't just destroy a mother mold and there not to be something to come up of that. So, just throwing it out there. So, But anyways, we will catch you on the flip side. Peace out, guys.
Wiedersehen, mein Dudes.